This lesson is a brief introduction on isotopes. Isotopes are atoms with the same number of protons, but different numbers of neutrons. Again, an atom is really identified as an element based on the number of protons. So the number of protons tells you which particular element you have. But in nature, there are lots of different versions of elements. Even, let's say, lithium. There are two different versions of lithium. Well, all lithium has 3 protons. But one version of lithium has 3 neutrons. A different version of lithium has 4 neutrons. We call these slight differences in the number of neutrons isotopes of an atom. Let's do some examples. So let's take the example of carbon. Carbon has an atomic number of 6, and on the periodic table, carbon is sometimes known or has an atomic mass of 12.011. Well, there is no atom of carbon that actually has an atomic mass of 12.011. It's a weighted average, meaning it takes all the versions of carbon and finds out a average mass. So, in nature, there is a such thing as carbon-12. Carbon-12 would look something like this on the periodic table, noticing that it's really just the atomic mass that has a different number. And for this particular one, it's 12. Well, that means in the nucleus of the atom, when we draw this, the number of protons, or pluses I should say, is 6. The number of electrons is also 6. And then to calculate the neutrons, we do 12 minus 6, giving us 6. Well, so if I was to draw this isotope of carbon, it would basically have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 2 electrons in the first, and 4 in the second. That would be one isotope of carbon, or known as carbon-12. So this is known as carbon-12. Well, sometimes carbon comes as a different element, or as a different version, I should say. Sometimes it still has 6 protons, because it has to have 6 protons. Sometimes carbon comes in carbon-13. Well, then, the protons are going to be 6, the electrons are still going to be 6 in a neutral atom, and then for our neutrons, we've got 13 minus 6, which is going to give us 7. So then, in the center, we have 6 protons, 7 neutrons, 2 electrons in the first shell, 4 electrons in the second shell. This would be called carbon-13. Notice that the only difference between this particular atom of carbon and this particular carbon atom is that the neutrons, this one has 6 neutrons, whereas this one has 7. Carbon-12 and carbon-13 are said to be isotopes. They have the same number of protons, but different numbers of electrons.